Okay, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about complaining kids. If you have a complainer, you know what I'm talking about. We're seeing the eye roll right now and all that. It's really hard to listen to somebody whining about everything. And so I wanted to talk a little bit just about how we can address complaining and how we can kind of make it a shift in perspective for our kids. So the first thing I would say is that if your kid complains a lot, you don't need to entertain every single complaint. I know we live in this generation of tell me about how you feel and all of this, but come on, if we entertain all of that complaining, it's working for our kids. So I would not give a lot of attention to the complaints that just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. I would give attention to the things that are valid concerns, valid complaints, real life situations that are going on for them, things that they really feel strongly about, which is going to take a little bit more attention for you guys to decipher, because if they complain about a lot of things, it's going to be hard to tell. And I know our tendency is to kind of let them pick everything or don't pick anything, or, you know, we just feel like we can't kind of win that one. And so I would also say we can go through a season of not allowing them to pick and explaining to them, you know, you kind of complain about a lot of things, so now you just don't get to pick because it doesn't seem to matter what is chosen, you complain about it. So you can kind of go that route, and then gradually as they recognize and stop complaining a little bit, then they can start to pick some things. The other thing I would do is I would try to shift their perspective. And so I used to say, I think your window's getting dirty. And you know when you feel like your house is super clean or your windows look fine, and then one day you just kind of wipe them down and you're like, oh, it's so much brighter in here. I didn't even realize they were kind of foggy and dusty and dirty. And so I think that happens with our kids too, where they don't even realize that they're kind of having a negative outlook or a negative perspective on things. And so maybe you could just say, oh, I think your window's getting a little bit dirty. You might need to wipe that off a little bit. And so that can kind of start to help them recognize like, oh, okay, maybe I don't need to look at everything from a negative perspective. And then the other thing is if they start complaining, I would make them do thankful. So, okay, you complained, I need to hear 2 things you're thankful for now. Or have them make a list of things you're thankful for. The idea is that we shift that that negative thinking, that negative perspective, because the reality is we live in a world where people are going to annoy you. You know, look at all the people that cut people off when they're driving, and people are honking and everyone's mad. And it's like, we want to raise kids that like, calm down a little bit. Like, it's okay. And everything, you don't have to verbalize or respond to every single thing that gets on your nerves, because nobody really wants to be around that. It's just a drain. It's just an energy zapper. So I would start to try and work with your kids on that so that they can learn to curtail that complaining just a bit to the things that are really important, so that when they do have something that they're really validly concerned about, you can pause and say, hey, I want to hear about that. And you can really mean it, that you really do want to hear their heart. You just don't want to hear every single annoyance that flies through their head any given moment. So I hope that this helps. I hope that we can start to shift that perspective a little bit. And maybe even as parents, we could use that every now and again, right? Happy parenting.